listening to Tiger Talk Flash Report.
Right, shout out to the Tough Tiger Talk family. Big Q in here representing Tough Tiger Talk Nation. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, man. We up in this one talking the team we love, LSU, man. And this one, man, we're going to get right into it, man, dealing with it. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and all four. And feel free to hit the notification bell as well, and the share button, man, to help Tough Tiger Talk get out there in that algorithm, man. We up in this thing. Shout out to NOLA.com. We talked about the scoop as springtime is here for LSU, an expensive roster that the team has placed together, and now the emphasis is on LSU to win and win as soon as they possibly can, which I think LSU will impress a lot of people this season. I think the good times, the golden era of football is possibly upon us here, and that's good news. So anyway, with that being said, shout out to NOLA.com. Sam Leavitt, with this article they penned, Sam Leavitt more involved than expected and more observations from LSU Spring Practice. That is the big news of the day. Spring Practice is here. And man, listen, it's good to see that stuff happening as LSU ramp it up, man, getting ready. So LSU wrapped up the first week of spring practice Saturday under new coach Lane Kiffin on a surprisingly cool and breezy sunsplash morning. The media was allowed to view approximately the first 30 minutes of practice, though no cameras were permitted. Here are some of the observations from day 3 of 15 spring practice sessions for the new look LSU Tigers. Leavitt, the Sam Leavitt silver lining, junior quarterback Sam Leavitt, who's really be big in our, in our what we seeing at winning in our first year here. Still isn't full after undergoing November foot surgery while at his previous school, Arizona State. With that being said, it's fair to say most of the observers have been surprised at his level of participation in the spring drills. Now, he's been throwing each day with LSU other quarterbacks to drill, which is fellow transfers Hussein Longstreet and Landon Clark, and returner Emil Pecorella from University High on Saturday. He again looked unencumbered as he moved from station to station on the practice field, which means he's getting close. Leavitt exhibits some occasional rust making deep passes to receivers he hasn't thrown to before this week. Yes, but his freedom of movement and ability to get those long throws out there suggests he'll be ready to go by August preseason camp. That is great news. Loving that, man. So regardless of that, but his freedom of movement is good, and getting them back on time for August it will be really good. So that is awesome. We'll be ready to go by preseason camp bearing some sort of setback. Kiffin said Tuesday, hopefully Leavitt will, quote, be able to do a lot more, end quote, by the end of the spring drills, which is good. Meanwhile, Leavitt's presumed backups, which is Clark and Longstreet, are getting valuable practice reps with the first and second team offensive groups. If they have to play significant minutes this fall, for some reason, the fact that they won't be going in cold is perhaps a silver lining for Leavitt's painful but manageable setback. Now, as we kind of pin and move away from the quarterbacks, which are important, to the running back side of things. Running backs are plenty. Remember about the time Kiffin's arrival at LSU, there were legitimate concerns about the Tigers' running back room, right? Remember that? Would talented players like Harlon Barrier, Caden Durham follow former running backs interim coach Frank Wilson to Ole Miss or transfer anywhere else? Well, Harlon Barrier and Durham were persuaded to stay, and a bunch more running backs, 8 in all, gave indication that LSU will have at least depth, if not guaranteed, in production. Kiffin said the offenses are predicated on being able to run the ball effectively, so it's a decent bet that the Tigers will average more than last season's feeble 140 yards per game. Could you imagine on the ground we doing 200? I ain't gonna go that far, but having really solid running attack. Wide open, man, doing it. Not a high bar to clear, perhaps, but nonetheless a decent bet. We got to run the ball. Kiffin was asked Tuesday if he thought one of the backs like Barry, who appears to be having most of the reps or snaps with the first string offense, could have a season like Ole Miss Quan Lacey, 1,500 plus yards and 24 touchdowns in 15 games. Kiffin wisely wouldn't guarantee anything like that. But as they said in the movie Moneyball, perhaps Kiffin and offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr. can recreate a Lacey-type season in the aggregate. which means Harlem Berry has all of the talent that you would want a running back to have. He can run inside, he can run outside, has elusive ability, has a extra gear. When he hits open field, he can catch out the backfield. He also can block for you. He's a complete back, and you don't have to wear him out. You also can plug in K. Durham, who's also an inside-outside runner, can catch the ball out the backfield, has some power as well. So there's a lot of versatility in our running room as well. Also, to talk about, how about some conversation on the weeks. A no weeks week. Well, perhaps not no weeks. Redshirt freshman Zach Weeks was out there practicing, but older brother Witt, a senior, continued to be an observer and not a participant during practice as Saturday, as the case Tuesday and Thursday. Weeks spoke to reporters Thursday, saying he could see the light at the end of the tunnel as he continues to recover from 2 ankle breaks, one in December and in the Texas Bowl, and the other in September at Ole Miss. But the fact that Leavitt is taking more of an active role in spring practice so far than Weeks is perhaps the biggest surprise of camp to date. So prayers to him to get back fast. What's next for LSU? The Tigers are off the field Sunday and Monday before resuming practices. Tuesday, spring practice continues through April the 24th. So pretty much the summation of the entire month of April, LSU will be practicing in an attempt to get back to where they belong. So that's also great news. Also, to talk about injury, a key defensive lineman for LSU football has torn his ACL. LSU football redshirt sophomore edge rusher Gabriel Relaford has torn his ACL, and that was confirmed on Saturday. He was not in attendance at LSU Spring Practice on Saturday, and Relaford played in just 4 games this past season, suffering a torn rotator cuff in LSU's win over Southeastern. He had 8 tackles and a tackle for loss before the injury. He also played a role in LSU's rotation on the edge as a freshman in 2024, playing in all 13 games and recording 10 tackles with a tackle for loss. Now, Relaford was expected to be an important piece in LSU's rotation on the edge this season, despite the additions of Ole Miss transfer Prince Will and Tennessee transfer Jordan Ross. Relaford was LSU's lone returning edge rusher who played a role in the Tigers' regular rotation last year after Jack Pyburn and Pat Payton and Jamari Butler all ran out of eligibility. So LSU really taking it on the chin with the Gabriel Relaford. Really sad news about his ACL, and prayers to him going forward. But LSU has a lot of options in that defensive edge rusher room, and we'll just see how they pick that up going forward.